Grand Rising, everyone. Greetings. Good evening or good afternoon, depending where you're joining me from today in the world. Depending what platform you are on, please do take a few moments to either like or subscribe, follow, share wherever you are. That would be much appreciated. Apologies for the delay. I am still waiting for my guest for today to join me, but the show must go on. So, welcome to today's Mothering Sunday. My name is Naa Amerley Asante-Armar, and streaming live to you from Ghana on the Power to Our Mothers Foundation Africa platform, the GPAN, that's Global Pan-Africanism Network Queens Club platform, and also on United States of Africa YouTube channel. So as I said, please do take just those few seconds to like, follow, subscribe, share, depending on what platform you are on. If you are joining this series, if you're watching this series for the first time, a very warm welcome to you. This show is all about having a conversation with my sons, the men, as I call them, about the influence, the impact their mother has had or is having on their life. This comes from the perspective that at Power to Our Mothers Foundation Africa, we are working with women and girls to help them empower themselves on many levels. I know we talk about empowering people, but you can't really empower people unless they're ready to empower themselves. So I say we work with women and girls to help them empower themselves. And every woman or girl is a mother or a mother figure. You don't have to have physically given birth to be a mother figure. You may be a mother community head, responsible for a community. That could be an online community. That could be a real, in-person community. So a figurehead. And it's important that we recognize those mother figureheads, because they are responsible for bringing people together, helping to keep the peace, providing nurturing, nourishment, and literally when I say nourishment in terms of the food that we eat, that is our responsibility, how our families eat, what they eat, to ensure that they are in the best possible shape as possible. So we're waiting today to be joined by our guest, Mr. Daniel Osei, who is a graphic designer at Kinapharma Ltd, to hear what he has to say about the influence of his mother in his life. Why is it important? Why am I speaking to our men, the sons? Well, as a mother myself, I have two boys, and if you have watched any of the previous episodes, you will have seen that I had my sons on the show as well. And it's important that we hear from the men in our lives, our sons, assuming you agree with me that we're all mothers or mother figures, because the mother doesn't leave anybody behind. That is the real important critical thing that we have to remember, or I am urging you to remember about when it comes to empowering mothers and mother figures. The mother, generally, a mother who is herself, she kind of knows who she is, what she needs to do, what she's about. She doesn't leave anybody behind. Where you find a mother or a mother figure like the woman, you rarely find her by herself. There are times that, of course, she's an individual, right? So she has her own interests, she has her own pursuits, her passion, her mission, her purpose, yes. But even if she doesn't have her own children, she may be looking after or supporting her siblings, maybe her aunts or uncles, maybe her parents, maybe her numerous godsons and goddaughters. So the mother never leaves anybody behind, and the mother listens. So I, in my mother figure role, I am listening to our sons, the men, and I call the men our sons because the mothers give birth. Yes, to those of you who say that, yes, but a woman doesn't give birth to herself. Yes, we do give birth by ourselves. We conceive jointly, but we give birth by ourselves. We are the ones that physically have to bring the life through this body and out into the current world. But we want to hear from our sons, the men, because it is very important to see what it is that they take away from their experiences with their mothers and how that has shaped, influenced, impacted their relationships with the women in their life, be it, their girlfriend, their wife, their daughter, their niece, their sister. Everything has a, if you like, a bigger picture. And sometimes we only see the different divisions, the sections, but I really encourage us to look at things more holistically. So we do want to hear about what our men say about their mother. And also, because if you've not heard it before, what do they say? A man will usually marry a woman that in some shape or form reminds him of his mother. But likewise for the women, the women will often marry or end up with or have relationships with men that in some shape or form remind them of their father. So we're looking at the relationship we have with our parents, because they found the basis of our relationships with other people. So again, if you're joining us for the first time, welcome to Mothering Sunday, a show where I talk to our sons, the men, about the influence that their mother has had and or is still having on their life. Why you are only hearing from me right now is because I'm waiting for my guests to join us today. If you have any comments, any questions, please do drop them in the comment section and I will deal with them as and when. Again, depending what platform you are on, you may be on the YouTube channel, United States of Africa. You may be watching us on Facebook on Power to Our Mothers Foundation Africa or on GPAN Queens Club. If you haven't already done so, please take the mere seconds, that it requires to like, subscribe and follow the page or the channel. We would really appreciate that. What impact has your mother had on your life, or is she having on your life? We're not really here to talk about the women, but I know that I would not be the woman I am today without the influence, a large influence of my mother. My father had a role to play. He wasn't there very much, but I do recognize his characteristics in me. But the thing is, our mothers inform, they educate us long before we've even been born. From conception, whatever we as the women, the mothers, whatever we're experiencing, then these things are being imparted to our child, whether it's the emotions, usually the emotions, and whatever is going on whilst we're pregnant. This is information or data that is being picked up upon by our child. In the same way that more and more these days, the men, the fathers, are being encouraged to speak to the child whilst she's still in, or he's still in, the mother's womb, because the child then gets sensitized, used to the father's voice before the child has actually been born. So I just want to take this question. So what are the things men need to understand about their mothers, of which our mothers feel we, the men, are not grown enough to accept their roles as men in society? That's a big question. Our mothers are the ones at the moment that, right now, if you look at the world today, we don't give the respect to our mothers that they once had in ancient times. I would say that we don't. We as an African people came from a time where our mothers, they had a really sacred role. They had a role. And whatever role that was, they all had different roles. You had the women who were out in the field. You had the women who were warriors. You had the women who were builders, as in building houses. You had the women who were educators. Like, you know, we're all unique, we're all diverse. So whatever needed to be done, different things, women could do that. The men also had their role. And their role was respected. We respected our men, and our men respected our women. And together, we came together to do the things that needed to be done. There was not this notion of competition. Today, we are living a reality, especially us as African people. We are living a reality that was never ours. It was not ours necessarily to be competitive, you know? And if you assume or you agree with me that the women are the mother figures, the mothers or the mother figures, and our men are our sons, then you have to ask yourself the question, why or even how would you compete with your son or with your child? You wouldn't do that. So we have lost or long forgotten how it is that we coincided, we cohabited, how we really complemented what it is that we would do. And the relationship with your mother, whether you realize it or not, forms the foundation with everybody else that looks like your mother. I'm not talking about physically. So for men, the relationship with your mother will absolutely, inevitably have an impact on the relationship you have with the women and the girls in your life. And the same is true for the women and the relationship with their father. Whether or not the biological mother or father was present, that presence or that lack or that absence, it will still dictate the way that we relate to men and women in the world. So for our men, what I would say is that the relationship with your mother, on the one hand, it's unique. You only have one mother, like one mother that actually bore you and brought you out into this world. But you're surrounded by mothers and mother figures. Every woman around you, whether or not she has children, carries that type of energy of your mother. So it's important that you treat the women and the girls in your life with the same respect, the love, the adoration as you do your own mother, because it's like a ripple effect. Yes, that person may not, that woman is not going to obviously give birth to you. You're already here, you're already born. But the likelihood is that that woman, she will be somebody's mother. And so the way that you treat her will, and then if she becomes pregnant, it will have an impact on not only the child that she then bears, but then the children of her children, her grandchildren. That's why if you've ever watched, one of my shows, I will say to you that in Ghana, we have a proverb that says, you educate a man, you educate an individual, educate a woman, and you educate a nation, or some will say a generation. Because we are the ones that carry the line down. Because from conception, we're inputting to our children, That's why it's important to understand that education doesn't start from the classroom. It doesn't even start from when the child is born. It starts from when the child is conceived. So men, cherish your mothers. Cherish your mothers. You only have one. She may not be perfect. She may annoy you, but you wouldn't be here but for her. I'm not saying don't respect your father. Absolutely not. But your father has a role. You can respect that. But your mother also has a role that your father doesn't have and cannot be replicated. And given that at some time in your life, you will, if you're not already, be working to make at least one woman in your life happy, It's like cherish your mother. Cherish your mother, because she will impart knowledge to you that only she can impart. Just like there's knowledge that your father can impart to you that perhaps only he can impart too. So thank you for following me thus far. I'm just about ready to introduce my guest, Mr. Daniel Osei. Please bear with us. He's had some technological issues. So I'm going to try and add him. And we'll see if he's able to join us. But if you're following the conversation so far, our men need to understand that the relationship with your mother is fundamental to your relationships with others who look like your mother, aka women or girls. The same is true of your mother, your father, but we're talking about mothers here. So you don't need to feel threatened by your mother or any other woman in your life. If you feel threatened by any woman in your life, ask yourself why. What is that about? What is it that you think that a woman can do that is there to threaten who you are as a man? That's the question you need to ask yourself. Because generally, as women, we make space. We make space for people, for others. We may have 1, 2, 3, more than that children, you know, and even if we don't have children, our role is to accommodate, yeah, to let people into a space and be themselves. So if you feel threatened by a woman or a girl in your life, ask yourself why. What is that about? Do you feel threatened by your mother? You know, if you do, why is that even? Because that will help you understand what else is going on with your relationships with women and girls in your life. When you disrespect your mother, and please hear me when I say that, when I talk about our mothers and empowering, helping our mothers empower themselves, in no shape or form am I saying that anybody's perfect. I know people, my own relatives and things that, that we may have difficult relationships with our mothers. That's not what it's about. But it's about when we can all go back, and the fellow mothers, the women as well, to respecting, that mother figure. That is the thing that is going to help balance out the world. Because we live in a world right now where the feminine energy is severely suppressed. And if you know yourself, you know that both men and women have both masculine and feminine energy. So not only is the feminine energy suppressed in the women, it's also suppressed in our men. This is how we can have subjects or notions or situations where people are talking about toxic masculinity. For me, toxic masculinity is just where there is a complete lack of any acknowledgement for the feminine in that person. And you can also have, women who their own femininity, our own femininity is suppressed, and we're just living the masculine energy, which is not good for anybody. So that is why when we help women, our mothers, empower themselves, everybody is empowered, because the mother doesn't leave anybody behind, and we both have female or feminine energy. Apologies to those that are joining and expected to see me with a guest. Unfortunately, my guest is having technical issues. So this will be a short discussion today, just with me. And if you do have any questions, please drop them in the comments below. But yes, it is important. It's absolutely important for our men to understand that your mother is special, your mother is special. Whether you get along with her or not, she is special. And if you truly, genuinely love, appreciate, respect your mother, you must be in a position where you see that any other woman or girl requires, deserves the same respect, because she may not be your mother, but she either is or is going to be somebody's mother or a mother figure. And by our nature, we educate, we inform. There are many things that we do that you may not consider education, but we are informing and educating you all the time. And so the more damage, the more harm that is caused to our women and girls, our mothers and mother figures, is relative to the harm and damage that is caused to humanity at large. I like how a friend of mine put it. It's like, disrespect your mother and you disrespect yourself, because you're disrespecting the very person who brought you into this world and who to you in physical form was God before you ever knew that there was another God that existed. She is the person that you are solely reliant on, dependent on. So if you disrespect your mother or another mother, you're disrespecting yourself. Like, it doesn't end well for any of us. So today is a very short live, because unfortunately my guest Daniel Osei could not join us today. We will have a guest on next week, connectivity pending. But do keep the comments and the questions coming in. And we do want to hear from our men, because as much as for women, yes, we validate ourselves. We should be, we validate, we can and should be able to validate ourselves. Each and every one of us forms our relationships based on our relationships with our parents, and the father figure is there as well. So whenever we speak about the mother, it's not that we've completely forgotten about the father. It is because it's the mother figure that has been completely downtrodden and pulled down from the heights with which it once was, the respect and the reverence. So thank you for joining me today, and I will see you same time next week, 2 p.m. GMT. I am Naa Amerley Asante-Armar signing out. Enjoy the rest of your Sunday wherever you are. Bye-bye.